welcome to Energised for autumn. I'm really looking forward to sharing some tips and tricks with you this afternoon on how to maintain a strong mind, a healthy body, and also glowing skin during autumn. So autumn tends to be a time when a lot of us end up feeling a little less than energized, and we sometimes end up lacking a little bit of energy. We start to feel a little bit sluggish as the seasons sort of turn, and things can start to go downhill a little bit in that regard. So I wanted to share with you some tips and tricks to really stay energized this autumn. Now, these tips I've filed them, I guess you could say, into 5 different areas. So these are some of my top tips to actually stay energized this autumn. So the first area is movement, which is fairly obvious. And as the weather gets a little bit colder, it can often be tempting to not quite move as much and to start and become a bit more sedentary. But we really want to try and combat this to help us stay energized. The second area is nutrition. So often as the weather gets a little bit colder, we can find ourselves reaching for more carbohydrate-rich type food. So some of the richer, more comfort type foods. So we want to be really mindful of our nutrition to make sure that doesn't contribute to any sluggish feelings as we head into autumn. Third area is mindset, meditation, and breathing. So we want to make sure that we're taking care of our mind, that we're not letting our mindset, as the days get a little bit shorter, we don't let our mindset and our stress levels slide. And we want to make sure we're not getting down, I guess, because the days are getting a little bit shorter. We want to make sure we're still breathing and not letting our breath get shorter, keeping on getting that oxygen in, even when maybe not getting as much fresh air as the days get shorter as well. We want to be taking care of our body and making sure that the products we're putting on our skin and body are keeping us healthy as well. And the final thing, we want to make sure that we're getting enough rest and stretching properly as well. So we often maybe don't take as good a care of ourselves. We don't stretch our muscles as much because we're keen to get back inside. So yeah, let's make sure we're taking care of our stretching and getting enough rest this autumn as well. So I wanted to expand on some of these areas. So the first area, obviously, being movement. Now, often as the days get shorter, we've got less hours of light in the day. It can be quite tempting to let some of this movement stuff slide, let our exercise slide. But I really want to encourage you just to get out there and move this autumn. So don't worry so much about whether the days are getting shorter, because there's so many more options out there other than just outdoor exercise, which, even though I know outdoor exercise is great and I do a lot of outdoor PT work, so we want to be really mindful that we're taking advantage of other options that might be available to us. So yes, fresh air is great. Get out there, get the fresh air. The oxygen can really help with your mindset and that kind of thing as well. But take advantage of other options. So whether that be on-demand options, meeting a friend for a class, walking down to get a coffee with a friend on a Saturday morning, getting that exercise in and making sure we're making that a priority as well. And make sure that you're not cutting out all fresh air. So if you do decide to go indoors and exercise, make sure you are getting that fresh air in as well. And you're not moving to indoor exercise at the expense of getting fresh air. So fresh air is great for your mindset and energy levels. The second area that I wanted to talk about today is nutrition. So nutrition is also one area that a lot of us can tend to overcomplicate. And we make it more complicated than it really needs to be. So one of my top tips is smoothies for breakfast. Now, I absolutely love a good smoothie for breakfast, and I've got a picture up there on the screen of one of my smoothies that I have for breakfast, which has a pea protein mixture in it, along with some kale and usually some fruit and some ice or water. And I absolutely love this because it helps me to get my greens in the morning. I also put a green supplement and some fiber in there as well. And this really helps me to get my vegetable intake in. And it also tastes awesome with the fruit and that kind of thing in there. The other thing that I absolutely love this for as well is keeping my energy levels up as well. So when a lot of us think of energy levels, a lot of the things that might come to mind in terms of snacks and meals and that kind of thing are often quite carb heavy. Now, this can actually lead us down the track to actually having energy slumps and energy crashes. So our body will get on a sugar high basically, or will metabolize the carbohydrates quite quickly. We'll have a little bit of a high and a peak of energy, and then that energy level will actually drop as our body metabolizes those, leading to a bit of a crash down the track. Now, protein, it takes the body a little bit longer to actually metabolize it, and then it leads to an extended period of energy. So we don't get that crash that we might get with some other carb-heavy type options. So smoothie is also a great way to increase your vegetable intake. You can pop kale and greens and that kind of thing in there as well, which is vital for making sure your body gets all the nutrients that it needs. It can also help to alkalize the body, which helps with all sorts of metabolism, body processes, and it just helps our body work more efficiently all up. So another little top tip to get some extra nutrition in. They're also really quick and easy. So they're not going to take up, smoothies are not going to take up a whole lot of time in your day. So you can get a quick, nutritious breakfast in really, really quickly without the stress and without the time hassle as well. But that's not to say they're the panacea for everything, of course. So you obviously do still need to have a healthy diet, healthy lunches and that kind of thing as well. And the same thing applies if you're having healthy lunches and dinners. The same kind of thing applies with your protein content versus carbs. Make sure you're getting enough protein in, because as I said, the temptation in winter and as we head into autumn can be to opt for more starchy, carbohydrate-rich foods, which can then obviously lead to that same sort of crash that I was talking about earlier. So something else to be in mind or bear in mind there. Make sure you're opting for low GI options, so things like sweet potatoes and the like as well. The third area that I wanted to look at is mindset. Now, as the days get shorter and there's less sunlight around, often our mind, or we can start to struggle a little bit with our mindset. And sometimes our stress levels can start to creep up because we're not getting as much sunlight, and things often seem a little bit harder. So the biggest question I've got for you today is, how do you actually release stress? Do you meditate? Do you do something else? What is it? Personally, for me, I love to make sure I'm taking time outside and also meditating. Both of these really help me with my stress levels and help me stay focused through autumn and into winter as well. So I use a nice, simple meditation technique, which is based on Vedic meditation, and it's really, really simple. And it simply utilizes a mantra that we use to keep our mind focused while we're meditating. So there's a whole lot of apps and that kind of thing out there at the moment. So if you don't have a technique that you use and that you know already, then any one of a number of different apps can help you learn how to meditate at home without having to go to classes and that kind of thing. That being said, if you do actually want to learn to meditate with someone, with a teacher, then I'm also a qualified meditation teacher, and I'd be happy to teach you a couple of the techniques that I use. And these will actually help you learn to meditate and release some of that stress without having to use an app, without having to worry about, I can't put earbuds in at the moment, so, I can't use my app, I can't have a meditation session because I can't put my AirPods or headphones in at the moment. So that's a big one, mindset. And finally on that, although it's not on the slide, make sure you're actually putting positive stuff into your mind as well. So doing some personal development and personal growth. Make sure you're not just flopping down on the sofa and going to watch Netflix and not really doing any personal development work. Make sure you're putting good stuff into your mind, not just soapies and things like that. So reading a good book, learning things, staying stimulated is really, really vital. So the third area is actually, or fourth area actually, is body care. So what we put on our skin and body can have a huge impact on what's going on in our mind and also our energy levels and how our body functions. Because our body actually absorbs a lot of what we put onto our body through the skin. So our skincare, our makeup, all those kinds of things can be absorbed into the body, and it can cause all sorts of issues down the track as well. So our mind and body are actually really interlinked. So what's going on in our gut and with nutrition and that kind of thing, and also what we're putting onto our skin and onto our body, can all really impact what goes on in our mind. And there's actually been quite a few scientific studies on the mind, gut, and body, or interactions between the mind and the gut and the body. So really, really important. And, you know, for a lot of us, just think how many products that you might put on your body just in the morning. So things like your deodorant, you know, your skincare, hair care, shampoo, conditioner, all those things that are coming into your contact with your body. And a lot of them you're probably using first thing in the morning. And then if you think about how many you use over the course of the day, it's probably quite a few. So this is definitely something to think about as well, making sure you're using clean skincare that's actually going to benefit your body. And the next area is stretching and rest. So a lot of us, when we think about energy levels and that kind of thing, we think about go, 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 go. And we don't often tend to think about the impact that rest has on some of these areas. So stretching and rest are absolutely vital, and they ensure our muscles can work at optimal levels to ensure that we actually get the best out of our workouts, out of our exercise and our movement. But linking this back to some of our nutrition and that kind of thing, hydration is also really, really important to make sure our bodies and our muscles are functioning at optimal levels as well. So if you think about a kitchen sponge shrinks up when it's dry. Our muscles in our body can do the same thing. So our bodies are actually 70 to 80% water. And when we don't get enough water and enough hydration, our bodies can start to shrink, and all the connective tissue that wraps around our muscles can actually start to shrink down as well. So hydration is really, really important for this. And also, you know, when you're talking about stretching and that kind of thing, make sure you're stretching your whole entire body, not just one particular area. So for instance, I think about someone I know that has, or plantar fasciitis as an example, for instance. I know I've struggled with this, and I know a couple of people who are as well. And, you know, plantar fasciitis is an issue with pain in the sole of the foot. And it's particularly prevalent when walking around or putting pressure on the heel and that kind of thing. Now, the heel and the muscles in the sole of our foot are actually linked all the way up through our calf. You can see the nice picture of my calf muscles there. The muscles in the sole of the feet are actually linked to the calves. And if our calves get tight, it can actually cause the muscles down the sole of the foot to get quite tight as well. And this can then link into things like plantar fasciitis. And we look at it and go, you know, it's a problem with the sole of the foot. There's some inflammation and that kind of thing. And we look at the foot. We don't often look at the leg and the calf and how it's related. So I know I often find when I've got issues along those sort of lines, the stretching of my calf can actually have a lot of benefit for that. And it's something that often gets overlooked when you're treating one area. So I'd really encourage you to make sure you're looking at stretching as much of your body as you can. And there's little things called massage balls, or they're little lacrosse balls, which are about the size of a tennis ball. They're little hard balls. You can get them made out of cork or rubber. And I personally love the cork ones at the moment. And I've got a video up on my YouTube channel as well, which has some myofascial release techniques, which are really good. They show a bit of the use of the massage balls and that kind of thing. They're really, really good for helping with that as well. So helping release tight muscles and get into areas that you might have trouble with if you're just stretching normally. So something I'd really encourage you to get onto if you want help sourcing a couple of those myofascial release balls or massage balls or learning how to use them, I would love to help out as well. And finally, now that we've covered off those 5 areas, something I can do for you right now to help with some of these tips to improve your energy levels over autumn, I would like to offer you 2 free on-demand video classes from my on-demand library of movement classes. So if you go to the web link that's on the screen there, you can select 2 free on-demand video classes and get those for free using the code Energised at checkout. So ENERGISED at checkout on the website there to get 2 free classes. So if you've got any comments or questions, I would love to help. My name is Sarah. I'm a PT and yoga teacher, and I'm also a scientist by trade and beauty therapist and makeup artist. So if you've got any questions at all about skincare, nutrition, movement, I would love to help out. And don't forget to redeem your 2 free classes.